everybody, this is the Vikstrand. So this movie is kind of immortalized in Weird Al Yankovic's best song, Albuquerque. And for years this movie eluded me. I had never seen actually this movie until just a few weeks ago. Not that I actively had avoided it or anything like that. It was just never on TV and I was just never able to see it. But then all of a sudden, in my hour of need, the streaming service Amazon Prime said to me, "Would you like to see Biodome, my son?" And I said, "Okay, I'll watch it." So I did. And to quote Will Ferrell, I immediately regret this decision because this movie is one of the worst comedies I think I have ever seen. But exactly how bad is it? Why is it so bad? And are there any redeeming qualities to it whatsoever? That's what we're gonna find out today. This is my review of Biodome. Bud and Doyle are two slackers played by Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin. We'll get to Stephen Baldwin in a second. They don't take any responsibility for anything, and they don't want to tag along with their girlfriends who want to protest against the environmental issues and stuff like that. They just want to be annoying slackers. So they are kicked out, and then in the dumbest way possible they accidentally stumbles into the Biodome. What is the Biodome, you might ask? Well, the Biodome is this enormous structure that has been built in their town, and inside of it they have replicated different environments, and we have 5 very capable scientists who's going to spend 1 year under the Biodome to conduct investigations and do scientist stuff. But now there is a virus in the Biodome. These two slack-jawed, empty-headed, dumb fucks who they can't get rid of for some bullshit reason, so they have to stay along with the scientists, slowly driving them insane with their antics. So are they going to learn anything from this experience in the Biodome, or will they just, turn everything into a circus? Will the scientists learn something from them, maybe? What could you possibly learn from these two absolute knuckleheads? But things aren't that bad for them. Sure, the conditions in the Biodome is a little bit harsh and it is not all fun and games. But hey, there are these two incredibly gorgeous scientist ladies here. One of them played by Kylie Minogue. Awesome! Maybe they will also find love inside of the Biodome. We shall see. Okay, let's get one thing out of the way first. This is probably the biggest time capsule of the 1990s I've ever seen. This movie is 1996 in a nutshell. The angles, the cinematography, the soundtrack with songs that reminds me of my teenage years, and all of these things really gave me a little bit of a nostalgic feel towards how this movie was made and how it looked. And I also will say this: there's never been a more 1996 title sequence than the title sequence in this movie. It is the purest definition of what the 90s looked like. With that out of the way, everything else sucks, and sucks hard. Now what I will say now is not anything I say lightly. This is the two most annoying characters that is playing the main characters in a movie during the 20th century. I cannot think of a single movie that have so annoying characters as they are. They are so annoying that it almost impresses you. How can you be this annoying? They are so incredibly grinding on me, and they were so unfunny, and all their, wacky antics just made me hate them. I don't think I have hated two characters this much for a long time, and I wished bodily harm would come upon them at every opportunity, and I just felt so bad for these scientists. And the wacky part is that you're supposed to sympathize with them. I hate you, Doyle and Bud. You're the fucking worst. They have zero redeeming qualities about them. And there is just so many ways that I can say that, you know, that joke wasn't funny and that joke wasn't funny and, you know, that thing they did wasn't funny either. There is not a single joke that landed in this movie. And on top of that, this movie is boring, this movie is slow, this movie is wackily and weirdly structured, and they also felt the need to have a fucking villain in this movie. That is not these two knuckleheads. Oh God. I don't think I've ever seen a movie starring Pauly Shore, and I'm not really thinking about, you know, seeing more of them anytime soon. But Stephen Baldwin, 1 year prior to this, he was in The Usual Suspects. 1 year later, he's stinking up the joint in this fucking awful mess. How the mighty, semi-mighty have fallen. It's terrible. And 95 minutes just drags itself across the finish line, and it was a chore to get through because how boring it is, because that it is so predictable, because that not a single joke really landed. This is one of the worst comedies I've ever seen, and bad comedies are some of the worst thing that has ever been made. Now, because I have seen a couple of movies that is so god-awfully bad that they actually are even worse than this movie. This made this movie a slightly bit better than those movies are, but oh my God, this movie. It is actually as bad as legend says that Biodome is. Biodome is one of these movies that you should actively avoid. Do not under any circumstances see this movie. It is not one of these movies that, you know, are so bad that it is good. It's just so annoying, and it just crawls very, 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 very slowly towards the incredibly predictable ending. This movie almost broke me, actually. Biodome should probably have gotten a 0, but it doesn't. It is slightly better than that. It's not gonna get a 1 either, but it will get 2 points. It is an ungodly awful comedy with 0 redeeming qualities to itself. It is a chore to get through, and I couldn't quite decide what I was the most, bored or disgusted by the whole thing. I was just happy when it finally ended, but it felt like it took for an eternity. It feels like the movie still isn't quite over yet. So I'll see you next time from well so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.